guard down, you strike. With everything in you,
I love this album. This record is definitely different than what I usually like. I like more contemporary song structures, more, something a little more quick moving, not, a funeral procession of an album. But this thing is amazing, except for it being a little bit shoddy at the outro. But for the most part, this album is just absolutely fantastic. The main theme of it is heartbreak, which is very apparent even from the first track when he comes in with his avant-garde typical delivery. But once he gets into that auto-tune phase, and it shows you what the rest of the album is going to be. It shows you what to expect, and it's either a sound that you love or a sound that you probably think is weird as shit. Me personally, I fucking love it. I didn't know what it was about avant-garde hip-hop that I didn't like too much until the other day when I was walking to work and I was listening to Danny Brown's Monopoly. Great track.
The hybrid, smoking a papaya that give you niggas bronchitis.
And I didn't realize that beat is basically the exact reason why I don't like avant-garde hip-hop for the most part. The beat is just one loop over and over and over. And I was talking to one of my friends, and, we were talking about how that's one of the main things I don't like in instrumentals. I like progression, like it building or something. And just, you get that release. Yeah, Danny Brown's Monopoly, I had an epiphany while listening to that. I don't need it to build. What I need is a good vocal performance. Something that compels me from front to back. Something that is interesting, new, inventive, unique, creative. And this album is all of the above. Its instrumentals can be kind of loopy, hypnotic, trance-inducing, but the vocals are more than enough to make up for it. The intro cut, for instance, is like a single loop for about 6 minutes. But it doesn't bother me one bit, because the rapping is solid, the auto-tune once it comes in is also pretty solid. It's just a very encapsulating track, and it's honestly hypnotizing that I can envision this playing in like a chapel of the 1800s during a funeral procession. The priest has died. Now we're walking him down the aisle in his big coffin, and this is what's playing, and everyone is bowing their heads in solitude and solace and remorse and sadness. Hands on Me or Hand Me Downs or whatever it's called. I love that track. At first, I was like, it's a little too slow moving, but the instrumental on it reminds me of Dragon Quest, which is a really good DS game. I think it was also NES or something, but it really reminds me of the strings on there, and the main string melody of this track, which is basically the only melody of the track, it's compelling what he does over it. It's interesting as fuck. Like, it may not be the most inventive thing in the world, like boundary pushing or whatever, but I don't know many artists that think to auto-croon over something like this. Or you have my favorite track on the album, Ascension, which is a two-parter.
If I could travel continents and ride with you, I'd die complete wide and see the apocalypse.
I'm going to be listening to that constantly, because God, is this album good. From the themes of heartbreak to the enchanting vocal performances and the very loopy instrumentals, I love this. It's a very odd combination, but it's like putting pepper on potatoes. It shouldn't work well. It's weird. I don't like pepper by itself. I'm kind of indifferent to potatoes. But hey, it slaps, and this slaps, and obviously not everything is golden here. I do think the outro drags a bit. Like, it's like a 5-track outro run or something that I'm talking about. Like the last 5 tracks. The last 2 tracks on the entire tape. One of them is a live performance, which I can't even tell is a live performance. It sounds very much the same as the studio version. And then you have the track before, which is a bonus track, and just feels eh. This album does sometimes also have the problem that a lot of albums do in this vein, is pseudo-conscious or pseudo-intelligent bars that they think is like way up there, when really it's like, you don't need to talk down to me like I'm 5. I know what you're talking about. I don't know. Some bars can come off as a little self-aggrandizing, but for the most part, I enjoy the writing all over this thing. I enjoy everything about this. There's not really much of anything I can point to and say, that's god-awful, or that's, I don't like that, because really everything on this album just works. It flows together great. It's cohesive. It sticks to a narrative pretty solidly. I feel like I'm wasting my time making this video, honestly. And I was struggling what to say with this review, because I tried recording this like an hour ago and almost screamed my brains out because I can't think of how to articulate exactly what I like about this album without just doing like a 1 hour reaction to this thing. Like, this thing is amazing from front to back. Aside from the back end. I don't know, this album just shows what direction I would love avant-garde hip-hop to go in. Obviously, it's not going to. Obviously, you don't need to be popular to make great music. Another side note, this cover art, I do like it, but, like, is everyone in the avant-garde lane doing this? Like, it looks okay, it's kind of aesthetic, but, like, can someone do something besides just a painting? I love this album. This is a 9. It's fantastic. Yeah. Bye.
If I could travel continents and ride with you, I'd die complete wide and seen apocalypse. Got talkers always cryptic.